Hello everyone, welcome to Friday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. I can't believe it's Friday already, that is absolutely crazy. It doesn't feel like 2 minutes ago that it was Friday last week and we were doing exactly the same thing. Transition? Alright, so let's get straight into it. You know the drill. First I talk about subscribing to the channel, making sure that you have done already, and if you haven't, why the bloody hell haven't you? So now's the opportunity to do it. Hit that little red button that says subscribe, hit it, boom, hit that little bell as well, and that'll tell you when we go live with our videos. Apologies yesterday for spoiling the result of the European Championship individual time trial, if anybody watched that and got annoyed with that. It's a tough balancing act. It really is, because we need to be the first with the news, but also we need to be aware that some people don't watch events in real time. So for those of you, it shouldn't happen very often. Obviously, we changed it during the Tour de France, but if you are worried of it happening again, just turn that bell off, just so you can give yourself a chance of not getting spoiled by the thumbnails or titles of these videos. Although that being said, if you jump into social media prior to watching an event, the chances are the result's going to be in there somewhere. So untick that bell, stay off social media, watch the race, then watch the show. And don't forget the Instagram account as well. There's going to be a chance to win. Oh, you tight arse, you giving away a free pair of bloody socks. Can't you give away bloody more than that? Yeah, I can eventually, but I don't want to give you everything too soon. Where would be the fun in that? Where's the anticipation of what you might get next week? However, next week you're going to stand a chance of winning a pair of socks. So why don't you go and follow the CPCN Instagram account and get involved over there. First up, Vincenzo Nibali is complaining that the Pro Peloton no longer has the respect that it used to have back in the day when he first started. Now, in my view, that sense of respect amongst the athletes is lacking. In the past, it was not like that. If I was not careful back then when I was a pro, I'd be slapped. But the real slaps, the punches, those in control would give them to those who were the most out of control. Today you can't. If they film you doing so with a mobile or with a camera, they kick you out. So back in the day, Vincenzo Nibali saying it was a lot more harsher for the up-and-coming riders to get along in the professional peloton. You had those stalwarts of the professional peloton who told everybody how it was. But it's not like that anymore. There seems to be, I wouldn't necessarily say a lack of respect, but more a lack of fear. And I like that. I like that these youngsters come in and say, actually, no, we're not listening to you. We want to do it our own way. Obviously, he's coming to the end of his career. He doesn't have the authority that he thought he might have over the professional peloton, like the older riders back in his generation. When he first turned up, he was expecting that once I get older, once I'm the stalwart of the professional peloton, then I'll get the respect that I deserve. And these young kids are coming in and going, I'm going to beat that old guy. And moving on to transfer news now, but sticking with Vincenzo Nibali, he has signed a new 2-year contract for Trek Segafredo. Now, is this a good move? Is it a bad move? Well, we took to Instagram to find out your views on it. And according to you lot, 68% of you thought it was a good move, 32% thought it was a poor move. I personally think it might be a good time to get out of Bahrain Merida for someone like Vincenzo Nibali. Obviously coming to the end of his career, still got a couple of years left in him, and I think he's still capable of having some decent results. But when you've got the new team principal of Rod Ellingworth coming in there, you can't help thinking the way that Ellingworth works, he'll be looking at the younger generation to bring them on. He's renowned for being an amazing coach that coached the likes of Cav, Swifty, G. He took Brad Wiggins to his Tour de France. So this guy knows his stuff, and it feels like he's much more in tune with the younger generation, trying to bring them through and develop them, than it is to manage, one of those older riders who are probably a little bit stuck in their own ways, and they know how to do it. In other transfer news, Enric Mas has found a new home. He moves from Deceuninck Quickstep across to the Movistar team, and he'll be there for the next 3 years. Also, and sticking with Deceuninck Quickstep, Remco Evenepoel extends his contract there for another 2 years. But the most interesting thing about this Remco Evenepoel contract is not necessarily what's happening now, but what's going to happen in 2 years' time. Is there a stipulation within that contract that's going to say, if we want you for another 5 years, or if we want you for life, we have first choice over it? Or is a team going to just throw as much money as they can at Deceuninck and at Remco to get him out of that contract, or to make sure that as that contract ends, he signs a brand new one with another team? All right, moving on now, and I was ready to bring you some like high quality breaking news of some great racing that's happened today. Firstly, it's the Women's Tour of Scotland, a 3-day stage race, the first of its kind in Scotland. I was hoping to bring you all the latest news from that because I really want to be covering more and more women's cycling as it happens, especially the Tour of Scotland, because Scotland means so much to me, and it was going to be such a massive event. I was hoping to bring you all the latest news from that, but the latest news is that rain stopped play. Organisers and police took the decision to abandon the first stage after the weather just became dangerous. On the Women's Tour of Scotland Twitter page, they posted, "Due to extreme weather conditions, we have taken the unfortunate decision, together with Police Scotland and the other relevant authorities, to abandon today's stage. Conditions have proven impossible due to heavy sections of standing water. Rider safety is therefore paramount and conditions were no longer safe to continue." Do you know what? It's bad enough that, it stopped the Tour de France only a couple of weeks ago due to unforeseen circumstances and extreme weather conditions. But to stop a race that has no heritage, that has no history, that's trying to get itself off the ground, it couldn't have happened at a worse time. Stage 2 is planned to go ahead. I don't know why I'm looking out the window, because the weather here has no relevance on what's happening up in Scotland, but it doesn't look like the weekend's going to be very good weather-wise across the whole of the UK. So fingers crossed we can get stage 2 underway. But never fear, even though we don't have the news from the Women's Tour of Scotland, we do have the news from the Tour of Poland, and it was set to be a barnstormer of a race today. It was all coming down to this last day for GC. Everything was pretty tight. We were expecting fireworks on the last little climb towards the line. Did we get them? Did we? Pavel Sivakov, Team Ineos, ended up winning the overall. He won by 2 seconds from second position, which was Jay Hindley, and then 12 seconds behind was Diego Ulisses and Higuita. Don't forget, Higuita is Jesper's top tip for taking the Vuelta this year. He was in 4th position, but do you know what? I think each and every one of those riders is just happy to get home safe and well after everything that's happened at the Tour of Poland. So what was planned to be an exciting part of the show, where we're going to talk about the racing and break it all down. Alright, so Q&A Friday is now a thing I'm going to try and roll out every Friday. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know. Maybe I didn't get any questions, so took to Instagram, on the Instagram account, and said, ask me a question, and here they are. If you were a chamois cream, what flavour would you be? Good question. Did you know what I'd go for? Mint. To give me that fresh tingly feeling down below. Track or cycle cross for the winter? Me personally, I'd say track. You stay dry, you stay warm. You ain't got to clean your bike afterwards. What is it like knowing everyone is better than you? That's just something I've come to accept and move on from. There's nothing I can do about that. When did you start racing and training? I started racing in 2008-9. And I started training in 2008-9. I pretty much, as soon as I got a road bike, I spent probably a couple of months just fannying around on it, and then just started racing the local races, and kind of that was it. This is a good question. This is a really good question. Tim versus Cam on a 10-mile time trial, who would win? That is too close to call. The deciding factor on that would be how technical is the course. If it's a straight out and back, I think Tim might have that. However, if there is any technicality to the course, then I think Cam might have it. Do you know what? We should make that happen here on the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Tim versus Cam. That would be a thing. We should start that thing. Wahoo Rome or Garmin 530? What kind of question is that? How did you get into cycling? Like most young kids do, I think one day I woke up and there was a bike out on the garden, and I got on it and I rode it. It was actually my mum that taught me how to ride a bike. I say she taught me. She took the stabilisers off on the playing field where I lived and just pushed me until I was able to do it myself. What bike do you ride, and which is your favourite and why? Well, I ride it's just the Trigon RQC29. I don't know, it wasn't the bike of choice. I borrowed that off Cycle Division when I competed at the Commonwealth Games because I didn't have a road bike. So I phoned them up, I said, can I borrow it please? And then I took it back after the games, and then I saw it up for sale on their website. And I thought, you know what, that's cheap enough for me to actually be able to purchase. So that was it. I've never really been able to buy a really good bike, but what would I buy? I really like Canyons. I think Canyons look absolutely phenomenal. How they ride, I'm not too sure. I rode a Grail, and that was amazing. But I'd like an air road, something like that. What is your favourite cycling team? I don't really have a favourite cycling team. I care not for teams, more for individuals on those teams. So I've got I know, Ineos fanboy. But I've got a couple of mates that ride for Ineos, so kind of they're the team that I always want to get good results. Other than that, I like EF Education First because I bloody love their pink kit. I think that looks amazing. They've got some cool riders on their team. But yeah, it's more down to the individual than it is the actual teams themselves. Favourite Top Gear presenter? That has to be Chris Harris. The only reason I say that is because I met him and I interviewed him, and he was a really nice guy. That's it. Danny Daniels or Brittany Amber? Are these people from Love Island? Let's have a look. Danny Daniel. Oh my god. Brittany Amber, let's take a look at her. There's no way that's gonna... Oh, that's amazing. Brittany Amber. Best thing about working with CyclingHub. Best thing about working with CyclingHub is the fact that I get to do this. The fact that I get to produce a video every day on a topic that I love, making videos which I love, presenting which I love, hopefully entertaining to a degree which I love. What's there not to love? And the fact that I can see my house from here and I can be with my family in that. Hey, I'm living the dream. Living the bloody dream. Hardest day you've ever had on a bike? That is a good question. I read that question like 10 minutes ago and I'm still unsure as to which one it is. There's quite a few. My first ever Century, that sucked for the last 10 miles. I remember feeling crap. And that was when my cycling journey first began, and I had no idea about fueling and kind of eating and drinking on the bike. I just went and really suffered. The Tour of the Strines, I vlogged it 2-3 years ago. That was brutal. That really sucked, but I did enjoy it. But ultimately, I guess the team sprint in the Commonwealth Games for me was the worst day, or worst 40, what should have been 44 seconds, but ended up being about 48 seconds. That was the worst 48 seconds of my life on a bike. To have trained all that time, put all that effort in, to sacrifice time with my family and my newborn, to then go and just not perform to where I should have for whatever reasons, then yeah, that sucked. Matt sent me a question. He didn't really use the question format. I think he needs a lesson in how to type the question into the box there. But Matt's asked, your highest max power ever recorded? I'll duly oblige with that one. 2066. And finally, the last question, when are you going to live stream Zwift races again? Soon, I guess. Not too soon, because let's be honest, there's not a great deal happening on Zwift at the minute. I'm going to wait for the winter season. I want to try and build up to something and have some sort of plan around it, rather than just aimlessly stream away. So we're still working on a few ideas that we want to take on when it comes to streaming. But I guess the question for you is, when would you like to see streaming start again? Would you be interested, if you're a brand new subscriber to the channel, are you interested in something like that? Would you be interested in seeing a stream? Would you come and join us for the chat? It gets a little bit crazy in the chat. Yeah, the streams are a little bit different to most people's, I feel. I do like to get involved in the chat. I do like to try different things out. So if you've got any recommendations, I know last year we tried the hot chicken wing challenge. That was fun. That brought a lot of subscribers on as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Zwift streaming. Have you got any recommendations you'd like to see? Is there any challenges you'd like us to take on during these Zwift streams? And ultimately, will you be tuning in when we go live with our live streams? All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Now, if you would like a proper question and answer, because as I said before, I wasn't expecting these kind of questions to come in, very serious questions that I feel that I could bring some value to you guys. So if you'd like me to answer them properly, leave your comments below. Do you want me to do a specific question and answer session where we deep dive into training plans, training programs, what you should be doing in terms of your training? If you would, then leave your comments down below. As ever, leave your comments down below on any news story that we've covered today or the past week. Jesper and Victor are back tomorrow with a bonus video. I'll be back Monday. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.